The locker room echoed with the sharp crack of a fist against metal, followed by a chorus of guttural laughs that sliced through the humid air like a dull knife. Lucas Harper froze mid-stride, his backpack slipping from his shoulder as the jeers zeroed in on him, the rainbow pin glinting defiantly on his faded denim jacket, a tiny flag in enemy territory. "Fairy boy thinks he's got style," snarled the voice that always led the pack, Benjamin "Ben" Callahan, his broad shoulders blocking the exit like a storm cloud refusing to break. It was supposed to be just another Friday after football practice at Eisenhower High in rural Ohio, the kind of endless autumn where the cornfields turned gold and the air smelled of impending frost. But for Lucas, every day felt like navigating a minefield blindfolded. At 17, he was the skinny kid from the wrong side of the tracks, the one whose mom worked double shifts at the diner to keep the lights on after Dad bailed for a bottle and a new life in Cleveland. Lucas had come out last spring, not with fanfare but with a quiet resolve, pinning that rainbow badge on his jacket the day after his first kiss with Tommy from the art club, a fumbling, heart-pounding moment behind the bleachers that ended too soon when Tommy transferred schools. The pin wasn't armor, it was a declaration. And in a town where "faggot" was tossed around like loose change, it might as well have been a bullseye. Ben Callahan was the golden boy, quarterback with a cannon arm and a smile that could charm the devil. 6'2", built like he was carved from the same oak that lined the football field. He was the son of the local real estate king, destined for Ohio State and beyond. But beneath the Letterman jacket and the easy charisma lurked something sharper, a meanness that flared hottest when the team's losses piled up. That afternoon, they'd blown a lead against rival Mansfield, and Ben needed a scapegoat. Lucas, heading to the library through the locker room shortcut. Was it? "Look at this glitter prince," Ben boomed, his voice bouncing off the tiled walls as he slammed his locker shut. The team, mostly juniors and seniors, all muscle and bravado, circled like hyenas. "What? You marching in some parade later? Shake your pom-poms for us." "Harper." Laughter erupted, raw and unrelenting. Someone chucked a balled-up sock at Lucas's head. It bounced off his cheek, leaving a red welt. He clenched his jaw, tasting the metallic tang of restraint. "Run." His brain screamed, but his feet rooted. He'd learned early. Fleeing fed the fire. Instead, he straightened, meeting Ben's ice-blue eyes, eyes that, for a split second, flickered with something unreadable, almost like hunger. "Save it for the mirror, Callahan." Lucas shot back, his voice steady despite the tremor in his chest. "We all know who's really dancing in the dark." The room went dead silent, then exploded. Ben's face twisted, a vein pulsing at his temple as he lunged forward, grabbing Lucas by the collar and shoving him against the cold lockers. Close, Ben smelled like sweat and cheap Axe body spray, his breath hot against Lucas's face. "You got a death wish, queer," he hissed, low enough that only Lucas could hear the crack in his facade, the way his grip tightened not just in anger, but in something desperate, clinging. Lucas didn't flinch. He'd stared down worse. The empty fridge at home, the whispers in Sunday school about eternal fire. "Let go," he whispered, "or you'll regret it more than I will." Ben held on for 3 heartbeats, his thumb brushing the rainbow pin accidentally, like a moth to flame. Then he released, shoving Lucas hard enough to make him stumble. The team howled approval as Ben turned away, barking, "Get the fuck out, freak." Lucas snatched his bag and bolted, the door slamming behind him like a guillotine. Outside, the October sun dipped low, painting the parking lot in bruised purples. Lucas leaned against his beat-up Schwinn bike, sucking in ragged breaths. His phone buzzed, a text from his mom working late. Leftovers in fridge. Love you. Simple, steady. She was his anchor, the woman who'd hugged him tight when he came out, whispering, "God's got room for rainbows too, baby." But anchors could drag you under if the storm was bad enough. He pedaled home through the winding streets of Milford, past clapboard houses with American flags flapping lazily and pickup trucks idling at the gas station. Milford was the kind of place where everyone knew your sins before you confessed them, where the annual fair still had a family values booth next to the funnel cakes. Lucas's house was on Elm Street, a sagging two-story with peeling blue paint and a porch swing that creaked like old bones. Inside, the kitchen light glowed warm, but it was empty. He microwaved macaroni, ate standing up, then retreated to his room. Posters of indie bands and a dog-eared copy of The Perks of Being a Wallflower adorned the walls. Lucas flopped onto his bed, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. That moment in the locker room replayed. Ben's eyes, the unintended touch. It wasn't the first time Ben had zeroed in on him. Last year, during gym, Ben had accidentally tripped him in the showers, his hand lingering too long on Lucas's waist as he helped him up. Whispers had circulated. Ben's ex-girlfriend, Sarah, dumping him after catching him staring at the swim team too long. But Ben was straight as an arrow, the town's prince. Right? Sleep came fitful, haunted by dreams of blue eyes and cracking laughter. Morning brought church, the First Baptist steeple piercing the fog like a judgment. Lucas sat in the back pew with Mom, her hand squeezing his during the sermon on Sodom and Gomorrah. Pastor Hale's voice thundered, "The wages of sin are death." Lucas tuned it out, sketching rainbows in his bulletin. After service, the parking lot buzzed with potlucks and pleasantries. Ben was there, arm around a new girl, cheerleader type, blonde and bubbly, flashing that megawatt smile. Their eyes locked across the gravel. Ben's faltered, a shadow crossing his face before he looked away. Lucas's stomach twisted. Hate, or something uglier. Monday blurred into routine. Classes droning on about quadratic equations and the Bill of Rights. Lunch in the courtyard where he ate alone under the oak tree, sketching portraits in his notebook. Ben's face emerged unbidden. Strong jaw, tousled brown hair, that cleft chin. Lucas tore the page out, crumpling it. Stupid. But the universe, cruel jester that it was, conspired to throw them together again. Coach Ramirez announced peer tutoring for the team's low performers. "Harper, you're top in English. Callahan needs help with his essays. Make it work." The classroom after school felt like a pressure cooker. Ben slouched in, tossing his backpack on the desk. "This is bullshit," he muttered, avoiding Lucas's gaze. "Welcome to life," Lucas replied, sliding a battered copy of The Great Gatsby across the table. "Read Chapter 3. We'll discuss symbolism." Ben cracked it open, his large hands dwarfing the pages. Silence stretched, broken only by the tick of the wall clock. Finally, Ben grumbled, "Why do you wear that pin? Attention?" Lucas's pen paused. "Pride. You should try it sometime." Ben snorted, but his eyes flicked to the pin, lingering. "Pride's for winners. Like me. Everyone's a winner until they're not." Lucas leaned in, voice soft. "What's eating you, Ben? The loss last week? Or something deeper?" Ben's jaw tightened. "Mind your own damn business. Tutor." They worked in fits and starts. Ben's essays raw, angry scrawls about lost dreams and hollow victories. Lucas saw glimpses. A kid pressured by a father who measured love in touchdowns. A boy hiding bruises under his sleeves that weren't from practice. One evening, as rain pattered against the windows, Ben paused mid-sentence. You ever feel like you're faking it? Like the world's got you in a chokehold? Lucas's heart stuttered. Every day. But faking gets you nowhere. Truth sets you free. Or so they say. Ben met his eyes then. Raw vulnerability cracking the mask. Yeah? And what if the truth gets you killed? The bell rang, shattering the moment. Ben bolted, leaving Lucas with a ghost of a touch, his hand brushing Lucas's as he grabbed his bag. Electric. Dangerous. Weeks blurred. Tutoring became ritual. Arguments over metaphors melting into shared silences. Ben's defenses crumbling like autumn leaves. One night, after a brutal practice, Ben showed up at Lucas's door unannounced, rain-soaked and shivering. Can I crash here? Dad's on a bender. Mom, ever the soft touch, made cocoa and left them be. In Lucas's room, Ben paced like a caged wolf. I hate this town. Hate the act. Hate me. Lucas sat on the bed, heart pounding. Then stop acting. Ben whirled, closing the distance in 2 strides. Their lips crashed, fierce, desperate, tasting of rain and regret. Hands roamed, shirts shed, bodies colliding in a tangle of need and fear. It was messy, urgent. Ben's calloused palms mapping Lucas's skin, Lucas's fingers threading through damp hair, pulling him closer. Gasps and whispers filled the room. Don't stop. I can't. Yes, you can. Until release shattered them both, leaving sweat-slicked limbs and heaving breaths. After, curled under the quilt, Ben murmured, this doesn't change anything. Tomorrow, I'm still me. Lucas traced the line of his jaw. It changes everything. But dawn brought denial. At school, Ben reverted. A cold shoulder in the hall. A sneered freak when eyes watched. The betrayal stung like salt in fresh wounds. Lucas confronted him in the empty gym, voice breaking. What was last night? Pity fuck. Ben's face crumpled. I can't. Lucas. My dad. The team. It'll ruin everything. Ruin? Or free? Tears burned Lucas's eyes. You're a coward. Ben Callahan. Ben grabbed his arm, grip bruising. Better coward than dead. He stormed out, leaving Lucas shattered on the bleachers. The bullying escalated. Whispers turned to shoves. Graffiti on Lucas's locker, rainbow roadkill. Ben led it, his laughs the loudest, but his eyes screamed apology. Lucas retreated, skipping tutoring, burying in books and sketches. Mom noticed, her hugs tighter. Hold on, baby. Storms pass, but storms don't always pass clean. One crisp November evening, as snow flurried like confetti from hell, Lucas biked home late from the library. Headlights pierced the dusk. A pickup swerved wild, Ben's dad's truck, bottles clinking in the bed. Clipped the curb, flipping into the ditch with a metallic screech. Lucas skidded to a halt, heart in throat. Flames licked the undercarriage. Ben's dad thrashed inside, trapped. No one else around. Hold on, Lucas yelled, dropping his bike, racing to the wreck. Smoke choked him. Heat blistered his hands as he yanked the door, glass shattering like ice. Ben, where's Ben? A groan from the passenger side. Ben slumped, blood trickling from his temple, seatbelt biting deep. Lucas. Go. Shut up. Lucas hauled him free first, dragging his bulk through the mud, then turned back for the father, cursing, flailing. With raw strength born of adrenaline, Lucas cut the belt, pulling the man clear just as the tank ignited in a whoosh of orange fury. Sirens wailed distant. Lucas collapsed beside them, coughing black soot, Ben's head in his lap. You saved us, Ben whispered, eyes wide with awe and shame. Someone had to, Lucas rasped, thumbing blood from Ben's cheek. Even for assholes. Ben's hand found his, squeezing. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. The ambulance lights bathed them blue. As medics swarmed, Ben clung, whispering promises into Lucas's ear. But Lucas knew, salvation wasn't a fairy tale. It was blood and fire, and the real story was just beginning. The hospital smelled of bleach and broken promises, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry hornets overhead. Lucas sat in the ER waiting room, a foil blanket draped over his shoulders, nursing a bandaged hand that throbbed with every heartbeat. The nurses had fussed over him, minor burns, smoke inhalation, but he waved them off, eyes fixed on the double doors where Ben and his dad had vanished. Milford General was small-town Stark. Faded posters urging flu shots, a vending machine humming for quarters Lucas didn't have. Outside, snow piled soft against the windows, muffling the world's sharp edges. Mom burst in an hour later, coat dusted white, face etched with terror. Oh, baby, she gasped, enveloping him in lavender and worry. The sheriff called, "What happened? Are you okay?" Lucas leaned into her, the dam cracking. Crash. Ben's truck pulled them out. Her arms tightened. My brave boy. She didn't ask about Ben, the history, the hate. Mothers like hers knew when to hold and when to heal. Word spread fast in Milford, gossip hotter than the diner coffee. By morning, the local news van idled outside, reporter in a puffy parka grilling the desk nurse. Hero teen saves quarterback's family. Lucas cringed at the label. Heroes got capes. He got sidelong glances and pity pats. Ben's dad, Harlan Callahan, emerged first, miraculous. The doc said, cracked ribs and a concussion, but alive. He lumbered out on crutches, face like thunder, spotting Lucas in the hall. You, he barked, voice gravel from the tube they'd snaked down his throat. Harper kid. Why'd you do it? Lucas stood, chin up. Right thing. Anyone would've. Harlan's eyes narrowed, scanning the rainbow pins still pinned crooked on Lucas's jacket, singed but stubborn. Oh, you, he grunted, clapping Lucas's shoulder hard enough to jar his burns. It wasn't warmth, but it was something. Progress, maybe. Ben was wheeled out next, pale under the bandages wrapping his head, for drip trailing like a leash. Their eyes met across the linoleum. Ben softened, a silent thank you that carried the weight of last night's flames. Lucas nodded, throat tight. No words in public, not yet. Discharge brought awkward limbo. Mom drove Lucas home, radio droning country ballads about lost loves and second chances. You need rest, she said, tucking him in like he was 10 again. But sleep evaded, replaying the inferno. Ben's weight in his arms, Harlan's curses, the acrid bite of gasoline. School Monday was a circus. Principal Whitaker pulled Lucas into the office, beaming under his comb-over. "Son, you've made us proud. Assembly tomorrow, your story, front and center." Lucas balked. "I don't want a spotlight." "Nonsense. This is Milford magic. Boy saves bully. Lessons learned." Whitaker's grin was all teeth, no soul. The assembly loomed like a guillotine. Gymnasium packed, kids on bleachers, teachers flanking the podium, American flag drooping in the heat. Lucas stood backstage, stomach churning, rainbow pin tucked inside his shirt like contraband. Ben sat front row, black eye blooming purple, avoiding his gaze. Whitaker's voice boomed. "Folks, we've got a real American tale today. Courage in crisis." Lucas Harper. Applause thundered, polite at first, then fervent. Lucas stepped out, lights blinding, words tumbling rehearsed. The swerve, the fire, the pull. No mention of Ben's mockery, the pin's curse. Just facts, flat as Ohio plains. Then questions. "Weren't you scared? What about the pin? Does it mean something special?" A kid in the back snickered, but the crowd hushed him. Ben stood suddenly, microphone snatched from a side table. "It means everything," he said, voice raw, cracking on the edges. Gasps rippled. "Lucas wears it proud. And he saved my life when I didn't deserve it. I was the asshole. The one who laughed. Who hurt him." Ben's eyes locked on Lucas, tears carving tracks down his bruised cheek. "I'm sorry. To everyone. But mostly to you." Silence, thick as fog. Then, a slow clap from the back, Coach Ramirez, nodding fierce. Spread, thunderous. Ben dropped the mic, striding to Lucas, pulling him into a hug that smelled of antiseptic and authenticity. Whispers flew. "Is that? No way." But in that embrace, with the whole school watching, something shifted. The air tasted like possibility. After, in the empty locker room, their old battlefield, Ben pressed Lucas against the cool metal, lips brushing tentative. "I meant it. All of it." Lucas searched his face, scars of fire and shame. "Prove it." Ben did, in stolen moments. A hand squeeze in the hall, notes slipped into lockers with doodled hearts. Tutoring resumed, but now with kisses between commas, essays laced with vulnerability. "Gatsby's a fool for the green light," Ben wrote one night, "but I'm chasing mine for real." Dating crept in quiet. Drives in Ben's rebuilt truck to the quarry's edge, where they'd skip stones and share secrets under star-pricked skies. Ben confessed the bruises, Harlan's belt for disappointments, the pressure to be the son who fixed everything. "I hated you because you were free," he admitted, head on Lucas's shoulder. "Made me see my cage." Lucas opened too. The fear of losing mom to cancer whispers, the ache of Tommy's ghost. "Love's scary," he said, "but worth the fall." Harlan thawed slow. Dinners at the Callahan Ranch, sprawling white farmhouse with horse pastures rolling to the horizon. Started stiff. Harlan grunting over pot roast, eyes on the TV's football highlights. But one night, post-Thanksgiving, he poured bourbon neat, sliding a glass to Lucas. "Heard you got into that art scholarship. Good on ya." Pause. "Ben's lucky. Got a fighter in you." Lucas sipped, burning warmth spreading. "He's got heart, sir. More than most." Harlan's laugh rumbled. "First real one. Damn straight. Or, well," he winked, clumsy but kind. "Progress." Winter deepened, snow blanketing Milford in hush. Prom loomed, tuxes and tiaras, the town's Cinderella ball. Ben asked Lucas in the diner, on one knee with a milkshake ring, "Go with me? As us?" Lucas's yes was a whisper, a vow. But shadows lingered. The team grumbled, whispers of traitor behind Ben's back, tackles harder in practice. Sarah, Ben's ex, cornered Lucas in the bathroom. "You're ruining him. He's not like you." Her words venom, but Lucas saw pity beneath. "He's more like me than you know." Betrayal brewed subtler. At a party in February, bonfire crackling in Tommy Jenkins's backyard, beer flowed loose. Ben drank too much, old habits clawing back. When a drunk teammate slurred, "Callahan's gone rainbow, fairy by proxy," Ben laughed sharp, echoing the old jeers. Lucas, across the fire, felt the knife twist. Their eyes met. Ben's widened in horror, but the damage bloomed. Outside, in the crisp dark, Lucas shoved him. "What the hell was that?" I didn't mean," Ben stammered, breath fogging. "You did." Slipped right back into the mask. Tears froze on Lucas's lashes. "I can't keep saving you from yourself." Ben grabbed his wrist. "Don't walk away. Please." But Lucas did, pedaling home through flurries, heart a blizzard. Days stretched cold. Ben texted apologies, "I'm trying. God, I'm trying." Flowers at school, notes in lockers. Lucas softened, but the scar ached. Spring thaw brought renewal. College acceptances, Lucas to Columbus College of Art, Ben to Ohio State on scholarship. Graduation eve. Under the football field's lights, Ben waited with a blanket and lantern. "I fucked up," he said, pulling Lucas close. "But I'm all in. No more half measures." Their kiss sealed it, slow and sure, fireflies winking approval. Yet fate, that fickle bitch, had one more twist. Summer job at the quarry, Ben operating the loader, Lucas sketching landscapes. One humid July afternoon, machinery groaned wrong. A rockslide thundered, burying Ben's cab in rubble. Shouts, dust clouding the sun. Lucas, on break nearby, sprinted not again, clawing at boulders with bare hands, blood slicking stones. "Ben, hold on," workers hauled, but Lucas burrowed first, freeing the door, pulling Ben gasping into daylight. Bruised, broken arm, but breathing. "My hero," Ben wheezed, clutching Lucas's torn shirt. In the ER again, deja vu sharp, Harlan arrived, face ashen. "Boy's got 9 lives. Thanks to you." He hugged Lucas fierce, bourbon scented. "Family now." Healing bridged gaps. Ben's cast became canvas. Lucas doodled rainbows, affirmations. Dates deepened. Road trip to Coney Island. Cotton candy kisses on the Ferris wheel. Bonfires where Ben read poetry, voice husky over flames. Fall beckoned, suitcases packed. Last night in Milford, they lay in the truck bed, stars a canopy. "Scared?" Ben asked, fingers laced. "Terrified," Lucas admitted. "But with you, worth it." Ben turned, eyes shining. "Love you, pinboy. Love you, quarterback." Dawn broke gentle. Goodbyes. Mom's tears. Harlan's gruff, "Make us proud." The highway unspooled west. Radio crooning Springsteen, Thunder Road. Promises in the rear view. But in the glove box, a letter from Sarah, Ben's secret. She'd threatened exposure. Old photos from a drunken hookup. Ben had burned them, chosen truth. Betrayal's ghost, but slain. Columbus welcomed. Dorms buzzing. Ben's frat hazing skipped for late-night study sessions in Lucas's art studio. Challenges came, slurs in bars, Harlan's calls laced with worry. But they faced them tandem, fists linked. One winter, back home for break, Harlan came out halting. Always knew Ben got it from somewhere. Me and your mom, we're good. Laughter. Hugs. Milford evolved slow. Pride flags fluttering tentative. Years layered, degrees earned. Ben coaching high school. Lucas illustrating books, rainbow motifs in every cover. Wedding in the quarry. Under summer sun. Vows exchanged with Harlan officiating. Mom beaming. Their first home. Creaky Victorian in Athens, Ohio. Porch swing echoing Milford's. Adopted twins later. Brown-haired boys with Ben's eyes. Lucas's fire. Life storms raged. Losses. Fights, but they weathered. Anchors entwined. In quiet nights, Ben traced the pin, now framed on the mantel. They laughed, he murmured. Lucas smiled. Until I saved you, and I'd save you back. Always. The ink on their marriage certificate had barely dried when the first real fracture appeared. Not from the world outside, but from the one they'd built brick by loving brick. It was a humid August evening in 2010, the kind where Ohio air clung like a second skin, and the twins, Eli and Noah, were barely 3 months old, their cries a symphony of chaos in the Little Victorian on High Street. Lucas paced the kitchen, bouncing Noah on his hip while Eli gummed a teething ring on the rug, his sketches scattered like fallen leaves across the table. Ben was late again. Practice running long at the high school, he said, but Lucas knew the drill. The real reason was the bar with the guys. Unwinding the knots Harlan had tied tighter than ever. The adoption had been a battle, home studies, courtrooms smelling of polished wood and prejudice. Social workers eyeing the rainbow flag on their porch like it was a hazard. But they'd won. Papers signed in a fluorescent-lit office. And the boys came home swaddled in blue, tiny fists waving triumph. Joy, pure as spring rain. Yet joy had teeth. Sleepless nights blurred into days. Ben's coaching stress mounting with budget cuts and a star player sidelined by injury. I need this, he'd mutter, kissing Lucas's temple before slipping out. For us, Lucas understood God. He did. His freelance illustrating gig was feast or famine. Covers for queer-lit mags paying pennies while bills stacked like cordwood. But understanding didn't dull the ache when Ben stumbled in at midnight, whiskey on his breath, collapsing on the couch without a word. Tonight was worse. The door creaked open at 2 a.m., Ben's shadow long and wobbly in the hall light. You're killing me, Lucas whispered, setting Noah in the bassinet, voice raw from lullabies and resentment. Eli stirred, whimpering. Lucas scooped him up too, a human shield against the storm brewing. Ben froze, keys jingling loose in his pocket. His face, still boyish at 25, cleft chin shadowed with stubble, crumpled. Rough night. Teams falling apart. Dad's riding me. Don't fuck this up like I did. Like you did. Lucas's laugh was bitter, edged with exhaustion. You didn't fuck anything up. You're here. We're here. He gestured to the boys, now quiet in his arms, oblivious cherubs with lashes like fans. But this, he waved at the clock. This is us falling apart. Ben crossed the room in 2 strides, hands hovering like he feared breakage. Let me hold them. Please. His fingers brushed Eli's cheek, tender as prayer. The touch grounded him. He took the boy, nuzzling his downy head, eyes closing in something like absolution. Noah reached from the bassinet, cooing. Ben juggled both, a lopsided juggler in a world too small. They sank onto the couch, boys nestled between, the room softening under the hum of the old box fan. "I hate this," Ben murmured, voice muffled against tiny curls. "Hate feeling like the old me, the one who ran." Lucas leaned in, forehead to Ben's. "You're not running. You're hiding." "From what? Me? Them?" Ben's breath hitched. "From failing. Dad called today, said the boosters are whispering. About us. Distracting the team. Like loving you makes me weak." Rage flickered, hot and familiar. "And drowning it in Jack Daniels makes you strong? Screw the boosters. You're the best damn coach because you see the kids, the real them, not just stats." Ben's free hand found Lucas's, squeezing knuckles white. "I know. But sometimes I miss the mask. It was easy. No stakes." The admission hung. A guillotine blade paused. Lucas pulled back, searching those ice-blue eyes, still capable of storms, but now flecked with hard-won peace. "Easy's a lie, Ben. We've built this, us, the boys, on truth. Don't cheapen it." Silence stretched, broken only by Eli's sigh. Ben nodded, slow. "You're right. Always are. Pin boy." He kissed Lucas then, soft and seeking, tasting of regret and redemption. The boys stirred, giggling. The moment diffused, but the crack lingered. Fall brought fragile mending. Ben cut back. AA meetings in the church basement, the same one where Pastor Hale had once thundered hellfire. Irony, thick as coffee. Lucas joined him once. The circle of folding chairs, a confessional for jocks and housewives alike. "Hi, I'm Ben. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm gay, and married, and a dad. And sober scares me shitless." Applause, awkward but real. Lucas squeezed his knee under the table, anchor steady. The twins hit milestones amid it. First steps tottering across the kitchen. Eli's laugh like bells. Noah's solemn gaze mirroring Lucas's. Art filled the house. Lucas's murals on nursery walls. Rainbows weaving through forests. Subtle sermons for little eyes. Ben coached with renewed fire, benching a bully for slurs, earning whispers of woke that he wore like badges. Harlan visited Sundays, pot roast in tow, gruff affection thawing further. "Boys take after you." Lucas stubborn. He'd bounce them on knees scarred from farm work, telling tales of Ben's toddler tantrums. Mom, now cancer-free after chemo siege. Baked pies, her hugs the glue. Family, patchwork but whole. Yet betrayal's shadow loomed larger. At a booster dinner, stiff collars and steak knives, Harlan pulled Ben aside, face florid. "Heard rumors. That player, Jenkins's kid, says you made a pass. Cover blown. Son." Ben's blood iced. Tommy Jenkins, son of the old teammate, a hothead Ben had suspended for roughing. Lies. Vicious. "Dad, it's bullshit. I'm out." "Proud." Harlan's eyes darted. "Proud don't pay mortgages. Fix it." Ben didn't tell Lucas. Not that night, tangled in sheets with the boys' monitor glowing soft. But doubt seeded, sprouting in quiet barbs. "You think I'm overreacting?" When Lucas pushed for confrontation. The storm broke in November, leaves skeleton rattling outside. Ben confronted Tommy at practice. Words heated. Retract it, or you're off the team. Tommy smirked. Phone out, voice note sent. Callahan's handsy. Everyone knows. The locker room erupted. Old ghosts howling. Ben came home shattered, slamming the door. It's out. All of it. Lucas, sketching at the table, froze. What? The lies. The whispers. Dad thinks I'm toxic now. Ben paced, fists clenched. I should have stayed quiet. Protected us. Protected. Lucas stood, voice rising. By lying? That's the betrayal. Ben, not the world. You think hiding saves the boys? Teaches them shame. Ben whirled. Shame? This is survival. You with your pins and parades, you don't get the hits I take. The slap echoed words, not hands, but stinging same. Lucas recoiled. I take them too. Every day. But I don't drink them away. Ben flinched, the AA chip in his pocket burning. Low blow. Truth hurts. Tears welled. Lucas swiped them furious. Go. Sleep it off. Ben didn't. He grabbed keys, storming into the night, truck roaring down High Street, taillights bleeding red. Hours crawled. 3 a.m. Call from the ER. Mr. Callahan, your husband's in a wreck. Drove into a pole. Not critical concussion. Cuts. Lucas's world tilted. He bundled the boys with Mom. Sped to the hospital, lights blurring. Heart a hammer. Ben in a bed. Forehead stitched. Eyes glassy. Idiot, Lucas choked, collapsing beside him. Scared me. Ben's hand trembled in his. Sorry. Again. Always. Doctors cleared him dawn. Home in silence. Ben crashing on the couch. Days blurred. Ice packs. Avoided gazes. The twins babble a buffer. Healing forced raw therapy sessions in a strip mall office. Dr. Ellis with wire rims and no bullshit. Betrayal's a cycle, she said. Break it or drown. Ben broke first. Letter to the boosters. Public. I'm gay. Married. Father. And damn good at my job. Backlash roared, emails venomous. Harlan silent. But allies rose. Coach Ramirez. Parents of queer kids. Even Tommy's dad. Shamed into retraction. Harlan showed at Christmas. Unannounced. Wrapped gifts for the boys. Heard the news. Proud. Son. Took balls. Hug. Bourbon scented. Real. Spring bloomed forgiveness. Ben sober 6 months. Coaching a GSA club at school. Lucas's book deal. Rainbow Road. Memoir illustrated hit shelves. Milford's bookstore window proud. Anniversary. Quarry picnic. Boys chasing fireflies. Ben knelt. Ring glinting, vow renewal. No more masks. You. Lucas pulled him up, kissing deep. Never, but life layered tests. Eli's fever spiking at 5. Noah's questions at 7. Why do kids call us weird? Ben fielded with stories, their story, unvarnished. High school loomed for the boys. Ben's tenure threatened by board politics. Lucas advocated. Op-eds in the Gazette. Love wins quiet. One night, storm raging. Ben confessed. Sometimes I still hear the laughs. Lucas traced his scars. We laugh louder now. Dawn gilding the window. Boys snores down the hall. Family, forged in fire, unbreakable. The boys turned 10 in a whirlwind of cake and chaos. The Victorian's backyard strung with fairy lights that twinkled like captured stars against the July dusk. Eli, the firecracker with Ben's grin, led a piñata assault with a plastic bat, while Noah, thoughtful as Lucas, sketched the scene on a napkin, charcoal-smudged fingers mirroring his dad's. Milford had grown, a pride crosswalk painted downtown, Harlan's realty signs touting inclusive neighborhoods. But the undercurrents still swirled, dark eddies in the Hocking River that bordered town. Ben flipped burgers on the grill, apron reading Kiss the Cook with a rainbow twist, laughing as grease popped. Easy, killer. Save some for the guests. Lucas watched from the porch, heart full to bursting. 15 years since that locker room shove. 12 since vows. 10 since fatherhood. Time's thief, but generous too. Laugh lines etching Ben's eyes, silver threading Lucas's curls. The boys a bridge between. His latest book, Bridges Over Rainbows, had hit bestseller lists. Tales of queer dads navigating heartland heartaches. Royalties easing the mortgage. Funding Eli's soccer cleats and Noah's art supplies. Life, if not perfect, was painted in bold strokes. Harlan arrived fashionably late, truck bed loaded with hay bales for seating, his once-iron frame softened by years and a new hip. "Where's my grandsons?" he boomed, scooping Eli into a bear hug that smelled of pipe tobacco and earth. Mom trailed, pie in hand, her cancer battle a distant scar now marked by tattoos, delicate rainbows on her wrists. "Brought your favorite, pecan," she said, kissing Lucas's cheek. "Proud of you boys." Always. The party hummed. Neighbors mingling. Coach Ramirez toasting with root beer. Sarah, Ben's ex, now a mom of 3 and ally fierce, chasing her toddler with Eli. Whispers lingered. Callahan's, still at it, but fewer, softer. Progress, inch by inch. As dusk deepened, Ben sidled up, arm snaking Lucas's waist. "Dance with me." He nodded to the Bluetooth speaker crooning Colby Calais, brighter than the sun. Lucas smirked. In front of the in-laws? Scandalous. Ben pulled him close. Sway slow under the lights. Let him talk. "You're my son." The dip stole breath, Ben's lips on his, cheers erupting from the kids. Eli hooped. Noah rolled eyes but grinned. Magic. Ordinary and profound. But autumn winds carried change. Eli's soccer tryouts clashed with Noah's art showcase. Ben's school board election loomed. Platform. Inclusive athletics. "We win this," Ben said over breakfast. Syrup-sticky pancakes steaming. "I push for trans policies." No more kids sidelined. Lucas nodded, pride swelling. "You've got my vote." And the boys, Eli's already campaigning with stickers. Election night. VFW hall buzzing. Ballots tallied on a projector. Tension coiled. Opponents slung mud. Agenda over academics, echoing old slurs. Ben paced. Tie loose. Lucas anchored him with a hand on his back. "Whatever happens." The screen flashed. Callahan, 58%. Cheers exploded. Ben sagged, laughing wet-eyed. "We did it." Home late, boys asleep. They celebrated slow, wine on the porch, stars pricking the sky. "To bridges," Ben toasted. "To not burning them," Lucas replied. Clink soft. Winter whispered warnings. Noah came home from school, face stormy, backpack thudding. "They said we're not real. That you and Dad are fakes." Lucas knelt, heart cracking. "Who? Doesn't matter." Noah's eyes, mirrors of his own, brimmed. Am I like you? The question hung. Precipice. Lucas hugged him tight. You're you, baby. And that's magic. Ben fielded the fallout. Meeting with the principal. GSA talk for the class. But seeds of doubt sprouted in Eli. Sudden silences. Jersey hidden in his drawer. Don't want the guys teasing, he mumbled at dinner. Ben's jaw tightened. Teasing's their problem. You're Callahan Harper. Own it. Easier preached than lived. Spring brought crisis. Eli's best friend. Outed and beaten behind the bleachers. Perps unknown, but whispers pointed to team rivals. Ben investigated. Coaching license on the line. Lucas sketched advocacy posters for the rally downtown. The night before the march, Ben confessed over midnight coffee. Got a call. Harlan's sick. Prostate. Bad. Lucas's mug clattered. When? Tomorrow. Hiding it for us. The boys. Ben's voice broke. Man's a rock. Seeing him crack. They drove at dawn. Twins in tow. The ranch a time capsule of weathered barns and wildflowers. Harlan sat on the porch. Thinner, but grin crooked. Come here. You lot. Hugs all around. His grip fierce despite the tremor. Doc says fightable. Like everything. Chemo started slow, Harlan stubborn. Refusing rides. Till Ben commandeered the truck schedule. Family dinners shifted. Mom's casseroles. Lucas's stories to distract the boys. Eli opened up one evening. Voice small. Grandpa's like dad tough. But scared. Terrified. Ben admitted. Arm around him. But we face it together. Harlan rallied summer-long. Hayrides with the boys turning therapeutic. Tales of Ben's mischief. Lessons in grit. Loved wrong once, he told Lucas privately. Sunset gilding the fields. Wife didn't know. But you fixed my boy. Thank you. Lucas squeezed his hand. Family. Harlan. No fixes needed. Remission came fall. Bells rung at the clinic. Celebration bonfire at the ranch. Marshmallows charred. Songs off-key. Harlan raised a beer. To rainbows. And the pins that started it all. Laughter echoed. Ghosts banished. But betrayal's blade, ever sharp, struck from within. Winter 2025. Ben's phone buzzed during a rare date night. Italian in Columbus. Candlelight flickering. He glanced. Face draining. It's nothing. Lucas arched brow. Liar. Ben sighed. Screen sliding over. Text from an old teammate. Link attached. Video grainy. Time-stamped years back. Ben. Younger. Drunk at a frat party. Kissing a guy not Lucas. Then another. Laughter. Catcalls. Leaked, Ben whispered. Sarah's ex? Revenge for the election. The restaurant spun. Lucas's fork clattered. You said. After me, nothing. Ben's panic crested. It was before Ohio State. Priya solid. Experimenting. I buried it. Buried. Lucas stood. Chair scraping. Like our trust? The boys think you're perfect. Outside. Rain lashed the sidewalk. Ben caught his arm. I am, for you. This changes nothing. Changes everything. Lucas yanked free. Hailing a cab home, heart a war drum. Days fractured. Ben on the couch. Explanations looping. One night. Stupid. Over now. Lucas silent. Sketching furious abstracts. Blacks and reds bleeding. The boys sensed. Questions probing. Why's Dad sleeping down here? Grown-up stuff. Lucas evaded. Guilt gnawing. Therapy ramped. Dr. Ellis mediating. Tissues piling. Betrayal's not the act, she said, but the hiding. Ben owned it. Public statement on the school site. Past mistakes don't define. Honesty does. Backlash minimal, era shifted. Allies vocal. Harlan called. We all got skeletons, son. Bury 'em shallow next time. Mending slow. Date nights enforced. Vulnerability bared. Ben's letter. Handwritten. You saved me thrice, fire, fall, fatherhood. Let me save us now. Lucas read it dawnlit. Tears salting pages. Forgiveness, not absolution, a daily choice. Spring healed. Family therapy blooming trust. Eli's coming out at 14. Like you, Dad. Met with hugs, not horror. Noah's pride pin. Handmade. Pinned beside Lucas's. Election win solidified Ben's reforms. Trans athletes affirmed. GSA funded. Lucas's TEDx talk went viral. From pins to pride, Heartland love. Summer solstice. Vow renewal at the quarry. Boys officiating. Harlan beaming. I do, Ben said. Ring sliding home. Again. Always, Lucas echoed. Kiss ceiling. Fireflies danced. Witnesses silent. Life layered on. Eli's scholarship. Noah's gallery show. Grandkids later, Harlan's greats. Spoiling fierce. In quiet, Ben traced Lucas's hand. They laughed once. Now they cheer, Lucas whispered. Legacy. Woven rainbow enduring. The autumn of their 40th year arrived like an old friend. Crisp and unhurried. Leaves carpeting Athens in golds and crimsons that crunched underfoot like whispered secrets. The Victorian stood sentinel on High Street, its blue paint refreshed. Porch swing oiled smooth for the twins, now men, who visited with stories of their own. Eli, 28, broad-shouldered like Ben, had traded cleats for cleats of a different sort, coaching a queer youth league in Chicago, his husband a barista with tattoos and a laugh that lit rooms. Noah, the artist, 28 too but worlds away in spirit, lived in Brooklyn, galleries clamoring for his abstracts, swirls of color evoking fire and forgiveness, rainbows fractured and reformed. They'd come home for the milestone, Lucas and Ben's anniversary, a quiet affair swelling to a village thanks to Milford's meddling love. The backyard bloomed under strung lights, tables groaning with mom's pies, 82 now, silver-haired sprite with a hip scooter, Harlan's ribs, 75, cancer a vanquished foe, pipe traded for lozenges, and casseroles from neighbors who'd once whispered, now toasting with craft IPAs. Coach Ramirez, gray at the temples, raised a glass. To the Callahans, pioneers, parents, pains in my ass, laughter rolled, warm as hearthfire. Lucas, lean still but lined with laughter's map, stood arm in arm with Ben, whose frame had softened to sturdy, eyes blue as ever under salt and pepper waves. The rainbow pin, original and tarnished, gleamed on a lanyard around Ben's neck, a talisman against old storms. 40 years, Ben murmured, breath tickling Lucas's ear. Feels like yesterday's fire. Lucas squeezed his hand, calluses familiar. And tomorrow's promise. Vows renewed under the oak they'd planted post-adoption. Roots deep as their love. Eli and Noah flanked, partners beaming, Harlan wiped eyes surreptitious. I do, they echoed, rings twisting eternal. Kiss thunderous, cheers a wave. After, as dusk bruised the sky, the party mellowed to stories. Eli's league triumph, a kid coming out mid-game, Noah's mural in a Brooklyn school, rainbows arching over lockers. Harlan regaled with ranch yarns, Mom with diner gossip. That Whitaker boy, out and proud now, runs the hardware. Ben pulled Lucas aside, to the swings creek. Proud? He asked, voice husky. Of us? Always. Lucas leaned in, foreheads touching. You? Ben's grin crooked. Saved by a pin. Best plot twist. Night deepened. Guests drifting. Boys bunked in old rooms. Murals faded but cherished. Harlan and Mom stayed. Guest room, there's partners in silver. Hands laced on the quilt. Dawn brought coffee on the porch. Steam curling lazy. Eli joined, mug in hand. Talk to the team, want you for a guest spot. Dad. Share the story. Ben hesitated. Glanced to Lucas. Old wounds. Healed ones, Lucas said. Share. Noah nodded. Sketchpad open, quick lines capturing the scene. For generations, intertwined. Art's testimony. Yours too. Ben agreed. Heart full. Fall unfurled gifts. Ben's book, Gridiron Grace. A Coach's Coming Out, hit shelves. Forward by Lucas. Illustrations by Noah. Signings in Milford drew crowds. Hands shaken. Hugs exchanged. A teen approached. Pin shining. You gave me courage. Ben choked. No, son. You had it. We just lit the match. Harlan's health waned winter, chemo's echo, but family cocooned. Video calls with the boys. Soup from Mom. Ben's hand steady. Fought worse, Harlan rasped. Eyes on the grandson's photos. For this, spring bloomed his 90th. Ranch party modest. Hayrides. Pie fights. He pulled Ben close. You were my hardest lesson. Best one. Ben hugged fierce. Love you, Dad. Summer scorched. But legacy cooled. Eli's league expanding. Noah's exhibit touring from Ohio to Ocean, rainbow routes. Lucas's memoir sequel. Saved by Storm. Optioned for film, Hollywood calling. Cautious. One August Eve. Storm brewing. Ben and Lucas walked the quarry. Echo of youth. Hands clasped. Thunder grumbled distant. Fireflies pulsed. Remember the slide? Ben asked. Voice soft. Your arm in a cast. My hands bloody. Lucas smiled wry. Worth it. Ben stopped. Turning him. Every scar. Every laugh. You. Kiss in the gloam. Rain spitting first drops. Home. They made love slow bodies known as maps. Touches reverent. After. Tangled sheets. Ben whispered. What now? Empty nest. Golden years. Lucas traced his chest. Morris. Travel. Paint. Coach grandkids. Laughter shared. All. Fall brought Harlan's quiet passing. Heart giving out mid-hay bail. Smile on lips. Funeral packed. VFW hall. Eulogies flowing. Ben spoke. He laughed last at that pin. Said it saved us all. Laughter amid tears. Rainbow wreaths on the casket. Winter healed. Memorial tree planted. Stories swapped. Mom moved closer, apartment blocks away. Bridge games with the boys via Zoom. Spring 2026. Eli's wedding. Chicago loft overlooking the lake. Ben walked him down a petal aisle. Lucas beaming ringside. Vows echoed theirs, through fire, to forever. Noah's followed summer. Brooklyn Gallery. Murals backdrop. Partners vowing in paint-splattered tuxes. Grandkids arrived autumn. Eli's girl. Rosy and roaring. Noah's boy. Solemn sketcher. Names. Harper for her. Callahan for him, cycles full. The Victorian echoed anew. Tiny feet pattering. Laughter layering ghosts. Ben retired graceful. Volunteering at the youth center, pin on his lanyard. Stories for the scared. Lucas wrote on Trilogy Complete. Rainbow Redemption. Tours with Ben. Hand in hand. One eve. Porch swing groaning under new weight. Grandkids piled between. Tell the story. Pops. Harper demanded. Curls bouncing. Ben glanced Lucas. Eyes twinkling. Once, they laughed at his rainbow pin. Lucas joined. Voices weaving. The shove. The fire. The fall. The rise. Kids rapped. Fireflies witnesses. And he saved the one who mocked him most. Because love, it's the real hero. Applause from small hands. Stars wheeled above. Milford sleeping soft. In bed later, Ben's arm heavy. Lucas murmured, "Happy ending?" Ben kissed his temple. Hours. Dawn crept. Birdsong chorus. Life's book open. Pages turning gentle. Rainbows arcing eternal.